the entire neighborhood almost run out of candy. You know, just so many people coming in. And for people over Lee County, I'll say that the neighborhoods over there like Yorktown and we got Yorktown, and then we got Meadowwood. There was really a lot of people in it. Autumn Creek.
Welcome the 1st of November today too. You have
For us government retired people, you know what that is, right?
Payday. Payday. Well, you know, and I think it so far, and I want to say, you know, that I don't think we're off base.
We're off base.
I don't think we're off base saying that I think that the Watch is the premier organization in the Chattahoochee Valley for reporting the real. Are we on, Pat? Looking good. The real news. Because you know what? Let's face it. Because of people like Eric, people like Stacy, and our other friends out there, our other 17,000 friends, we're getting the news out there of what's happening in the community quicker than any other media source. And you know, by the way, I'm going to let everybody know we are, for those of you who have wondered, we are actually a media organization. We have registration with the Secretary of State to watch it. So this guy is a reporter and has press credentials.
Yeah, and I want everybody to know that I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. You know, so anyway, no, what we wanted to talk about was, you know, everybody that's been following, you know, and we're going back to talk about the Bojangles thing, okay? And we're going to talk about some of the, you know, the details and stuff, and we're going to go over it for some of the people that didn't hear about it. So basically, the whole Bojangles thing was something that was going on in Columbus a couple days ago. And you had a group, and I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm not going to be politically correct. I'm just going to tell you how it should have been reported in the media. You had a group of young African-American males, all dressed similarly. Anyway, they were dressed alike. Okay, with some type of jackets, different colored jackets, but to a certain extent, they all had camouflage on. And the details were pretty much put out that, you know, they didn't all come out at once. It took a while for the details to come out. But initially there was a call that there had been an incident at Bojangles and that shots had been fired. Now initially, I'll be totally honest, we were told that the shots were fired inside the restaurant, okay? When in fact the shots were fired after. And then it comes to be found out that supposedly these same people were over at the mall. We heard they might have been at a movie theater, and that they were in the Walmart parking lot right there at Airport Freeway with Bojangles right there in the background. And that they went into Bojangles, acted a fool, used profanity, basically just in there being disruptive. And they were eventually asked to leave, and then they didn't leave on time. And they were told, hey, the police have been called. And then that finally got them going out the doors and stuff, and supposedly one of them stuck his foot in the door and said, why do y'all got to call the police, you know?
Welcome, Chuck. Welcome, Wanda. Welcome.
And they weren't happy about the police being called. And this is all coming from accurate sources, okay? We don't pull this stuff out of our back pocket, okay? Everything that we're telling you was checked and confirmed, okay? So one of the little juveniles went out and grabbed a gun or whatever out of the car.
And a flare pistol.
Well, I never heard about the flare pistol. But I did go over, I talked to people, did a little video over there, and I showed you the holes in the window, okay? Big, thick plate glass window. My opinion, it was something probably maybe a 22 or a 25 caliber. More likely it was a 22. Do not believe for a second that it was a BB gun, as some people have said, because the manager said there was a bang, bang, bang. Okay, so anyway.
By the way, I went over there after talking to you, and I also looked at the bullet holes.
So Are we trying to tell you that we are the premier news source that's going to replace all the TV news? No, that's not the point of what we did. The point was no one else talked about it. No one else picked it up for days. I think the Ledger was finally the first media source to one or 2 days later, and they did something on it. The questions we have is that initially people took it to the media. The media tried to find out about it. Police reports or details were asked about, and it just doesn't seem like, when one of the media sources said, what happened, they said, well, we don't have anything about firearms being shot. We just have property damage, okay? And that's how it was wrote up. It was wrote up as property damage, or they were told it was property damage. Well, here's what I'm trying to get to. What do you think caused the property damage? What do you think put the holes in the windows? Do you think they did that with their fingers? No, they shot a gun, okay? Supposedly an assault happened at the mall, okay? Same individuals. Supposedly these guys went into Walmart and were told to get out of Walmart. You're causing problems. And the fact that we seem to have, and I'm just going to use the word, a gang of people all dressed alike going around different sections of town, and when they got upset, how did they settle their resolution to the problem was to pull out a flare gun and a gun and start shooting.
Oh, Lisa, I can tell you something interesting that I found out, and maybe this is something that can help us as citizens to recognize what's going on now. I will, in all fairness, we always want to point out that it is not the officers, it is the administration that is causing these problems. The officers, we back 100%. But I'm going to tell you something. Is when I was a Columbus police officer, one thing that now this is kind of a procedural thing, but this might help people on something. When I called over to ask about the incident, we started this as early as Monday morning about at Bojangles. I gave the address, and I think the duty sergeant looked it up by that address and stuff and said that we don't have anything happening at that address. Now, let me tell you what, and this is not necessarily the sweeping of the road. This is one thing that procedurally can happen, so this kind of can aid us in looking at things. What it was is there was an incident at Peachtree Mall that started at Peachtree Mall. Then they went to Bojangles. Then they went to Walmart. And then they went somewhere else.
Well, so they went down the road to the airport in 185 and wrecked out one of the cars.
Yeah. So typically what happens is, when that happens, the report is filed under the address of the first incident. And therefore, it would be 123 Hauser Street, Peachtree Mall. And when you pull the Peachtree Mall report, found within the narrative, it would say, then they went to 123 Airport Thruway, Bojangles. Then they went to 125 Airport Thruway, Walmart, and then so in other words, what I'm saying is you got to be cognizant because now that might be a little bit of a sleight of hand.
Joe, it just seems to me that some people ask questions and stuff, and the fact that a firearm was used in was it a serious like felony type crime? I don't know. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to get into going through all the laws and stuff, but it would seem like that would be the pertinent. One of the key pieces of information in the narrative of a police report is that a firearm was used by juveniles that shouldn't probably have firearms in the first place, because you got to be 21 years old to carry a firearm in the state of Georgia. Of course, criminals don't necessarily follow the law, but anyway, what I'm saying is, we the public should be able to get the details when you call up. I can totally understand that you're going to hear that, if you get somebody on the phone, you're going to get, this is incident is under investigation, or we can't give out those details or something. But at some point, the media should be able to call down there and say what happened at Bojangles.
I get a little disturbed too because, to our own family, our family is the watch, okay? There's some people out there. Let me tell you something too. I called down and I was told that they didn't have a description. They could not give out a description. It was 8 black males. Okay, now I don't care if it's 8 white males, 8 Hispanic males,
When you say that they can't give out a description, are you saying they didn't have a description?
They would not.
Or they would not say
they would not
what the real deal was?
They said it was under investigation and
okay,
they did not give out information, which I would be
see, that's the kind of thing that I've got issue with.
I have a great issue with that.
If you have the facts, what is the big deal about telling the public what the suspects look like? And I would like to know, is that policy or
politics?
Politics coming from above saying we don't want you saying what the suspects look like.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and also there's another issue here too. Is I want everybody to do something if you have the time. You know, I also saw a couple of people saying stuff like, "Well, you know what? You know, just because they camo, you know, I wear camo. You know, hey, does that make them a gang?" Okay,
no.
Don't listen to us. Go to the internet and go to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation or the Georgia Bureau of Investigation gang signs and colors.
Yeah, well,
and it will tell you that we have a gang in Columbus that wears camo.
Right.
Matter of fact, I can tell you because I'm a volunteer for District 5 on the school district, and so I get the communiques. The school district, the Muskegon School District, does not allow any student to wear any form of camo. Have a camo backpack, a camo bandana, a camo shirt.
Here's the other thing,
because
Joe.
It's a gang color.
Joe, can you turn my earphones down just a little bit?
Better.
Yeah, I'm blasted. Yeah, that's good.
Better. Okay.
So what I'm thinking is that sometimes people jump into the conversation and they read the text or they read the post, and they're not quite comprehending the intent of the post. In other words, we're not communicating. Okay, no one ever said that if you wear camouflage, you're a criminal. We never said if you wear camouflage, you're a gangbanger. Okay, Lord knows that there's enough people over in Alabama wearing camouflage and mossy oak and all that stuff that no, we know you're hunters. We know you're like to be out in the woods. Hell, 20 years in the military, I got a closet full of camouflage that I still wear. Okay, no one ever said that. And I think some people, you know, read some of the posts and stuff, and they don't have a grasp of the entire situation. Along with, you know, the questioning of how we're getting the information and questioning the information in general. If you think we're in the business of just sitting around and pulling things out of our fourth point of contact and throwing it out there, that's not what we're trying to do. Okay, we're trying to get answers to things that we shouldn't even be in the business. We shouldn't have to do it, but we are having to do it. We're having to go out and ask people what's going on. If we can't get it from the elected officials and we can't get it sometimes from law enforcement, fine. Then we'll try and get it from the media. If we can't get it from the media, then you know what? The citizens have a right to ask questions, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to ask.
Ask questions.
You know, and if you've got a problem with that, then the Watch is not the right page for you because we are going to put stuff out there.
And we're asking questions.
And, you know, if people don't like that, that's just too bad. If you get upset, now let me tell you something right off the bat here, and I'm not going to beat this up too much, but, you know, if you want to come onto the page and question the integrity of the admins, especially Miss Stacy, who spends a lot of time checking stuff out.
As a volunteer.
And you're going to question her integrity and her truthfulness and whether or not she's putting out what she works hard to find out and make sure that is the stuff that is being put out. I mean, the same information that's being put out to police officers who are going out to investigate is the same information that you're getting. Now, is it always 100% clear? No, because it wasn't called into the police department or the 911 dispatcher 100% clear. Somebody called in the best information that they had or what they thought was going on. The police officer has to go out there and figure it out. But by and large, what was put out about Bojangles was pretty much dead on. Okay, we were a little bit messed up about where the gun was actually fired, but look, I've been in situations in war where I was on the scene, on the objective. I've been in places where people thought this is exactly what the facts were. 100% in their mind, that's what happened, and guess what? That's not what happened. Okay, they were wrong, all right? We're not infallible. Sometimes we don't have a problem with anybody questioning the facts. Question it all day long. You know, there was some gentleman that questioned something I posted about, well, I don't see any broken glass. Well, you know what? You weren't about to be kicked off the property because they really didn't want to talk about it, okay? So I had to go do the video, and then I had to go back and snap some pictures. So yes, the time of the video being taken and the time of the pictures being taken and actually being posted, which was later, because the video was done on one Facebook page and then shared with another Facebook page, so that those two times are going to be different. But the
and I can tell you too that I got one on there where I came back and I spent a considerable amount of time tracking this down, as did Eric. And I came back in there, and if anybody read my post, I consistently said, allegedly there was an incident, allegedly shots were fired, allegedly there was an assault. And then I came back, and I talked to WTVM, WRBL, the Ledger, and I came back and got information from the police desk. And then I came back and I said, okay, I can now say this has been confirmed that there was an incident at Bojangles at the mall and involving some gunfire and then I had somebody come around and go, confirmed by who? Confirmed by me. Okay, that's who confirmed it. I went out and went to. I'm a former law enforcement officer and I'm a deputy sheriff and a police officer. And I went out, as Eric is, we went out and we don't put stuff on here. This is not fake news. We don't come on here and just say, oh, guess what?
Yeah.
We heard this or we read something in National Enquirer on something.
I mean, you don't see CNN or MSNBC on my shirt, do you? I mean, come on.
You don't see Teresa Thomas and staff on there. On that. We go out and we're not going to say confirmed until we could say in a court of law, at least I can tell you, both of us, that we could prove that what we're saying is that, and that's what we're doing. And I think that's what's important. I want to thank all the people that for coming back, also coming on and thanking us for doing this. And this is what we're trying to do. Yes, it wasn't. What is today? Today is Wednesday, and it was today that they saw finally the news media put something about it. And I think
I think it was the Ledger finally covered it.
Hey, look,
finally. It's not easy keeping up with. And let me tell you something. Ask any 911 operator, okay, how easy it is to keep up with all the stuff that's going on, when it gets busy. We totally missed that somewhere. It was either Sunday. I think it was Sunday evening or Sunday afternoon. I think it was the Circle K or one of the gas stations over on Winton Road was robbed, and we totally missed that one.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is.
Miss Pat, how do you feel about all this stuff? I mean, you're a citizen, you're a taxpayer.
I think that that it's a shame that people can't wear camouflage clothes because they have a gang related to clothes. And I think that it's horrible that our society has had to change things that we do so often because we're scared to go places and we're scared to be around certain crowds of people because we never know when a drive-by shooting is going to occur or whatever.
All right, I got to interrupt you here. Miss Stacy says that we did not miss the Winton Road. Okay, let me rephrase that. Eric missed the Winton Road robbery. Okay, I did not see it. But Miss Stacy said that it was posted, so I stand corrected, sit corrected. I'll do push-ups later, Miss Stacy.
Hello, Lakeisha.
But look, the bottom line is here on this thing is we've got 17,000 on the way to 18,000 people. And I've said this and I've said this again. When we hit 20,000, 25,000 people, 30,000 people, whatever we hit a year from now or whatever, we're picking up a lot of stuff right now. And if there's a day and time when we have 50,000 people following the page, it'll be like a vacuum cleaner. You're going to hear about everything.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I can assure you, we're working right now. Number one, again, I told you all over anyway from 30 to 60 days, we're going to have an on-air regular radio signal that's going to be going out.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing it. Eric's got stuff planned, and we're going to be doing actual going out on the scene and getting we can go and do these kind of things. Lynette says, I dress in alternative fashion, lots of black, piercings, tattoos, but I prove people wrong who may have already formed an opinion by not shooting at places or being a public nuisance. It says the people, one second, the people acting up know who they are and need to stop. I agree. Thank you, Lynette. Hey, David, thank you for watching.
Last night we had a conversation with a bunch of veterans and stuff, and we said it's absolutely ridiculous that we live right here, so close to Fort Benning, and we have so many veterans that are ex-military combat arms, so many veterans that hunt for a pastime, so many veterans that still go to sport shooting, matches and stuff, and still shoot for recreation. And the fact that we had elected officials say, the violence is all because of the gun culture. I mean, I want you people to think about how many veterans are in this area and how many veterans own more than one gun. And we carried more guns and had more access to explosives and firearms and machine guns. And, now we're retired, we're living out there among you. And how many of us have you seen reported we just go nutso and we're shooting up everything in sight? We're at the mall and we're carrying machine guns and we're just waiting for you. You know how many? Probably zero, okay? Now, I live over in Alabama, happy to live over there, and of course, one of the major pastimes over there is shooting road signs. And I can't even remember the last time I shot a road sign. It's been maybe, 20 years, but I mean, with all these guns and all these bullets that all us veterans have, you would think that there'd be a body count from here till next week. And somehow we manage to control ourselves. And it's just, what I'm trying to say with sarcasm is, it has nothing to do with gun culture. It has to do with the way that you were brought up. It has to do with what your parents instilled in you. And, for a lot of us, now, yes, we have a lot of veterans that get upset and they have problems, and they usually end up, if there's anybody shot, it's themselves. 22 veterans every 22 minutes or every minute? 22 minutes.
I think it's every 22 minutes.
Yeah, we lose 22 veterans.
Miss Pat, put our phone number
day.
right there. 706-940-0541. 706-940-0541. Miss Pat, going to put it out.
But getting off of that idea, okay, so guns aren't the problem. We had a lady that was downtown the other day that probably wished that she had a gun in her purse. And I still haven't heard the details of what happened to this poor woman, but she was in the parking garage and she was accosted. And one of the news reports said, it was a positive thing that she wasn't hurt worse. Okay, she was stabbed and required stitches. Okay, so I don't know how much worse for her it could have been. I guess if the guy would have cut off her head, it would have been really, really bad. But for a lady to go to get her car or get into her car and she gets accosted in a parking deck downtown, which I believe is either adjacent to the CSU campus or it's part of the CSU campus. And that could very well have been a young student that was accosted up there. Now, on the positive side, CSU police got down there, CPD got down there, and they got this guy. All right, so he's hopefully off the street for a while. But just think about this lady. She's down there either going about her business. All she wants to do is either park her car or get back in her car and drive, going about her business. And she's got some nut job down there trying to stick her with a knife, and she's probably traumatized. And, this stuff is just going on and on and on. And the only way, now, great job, CSU heard about this, and I don't know if it went through the police department up through CSU, but early that morning, emails went out to all the students, graduate students, and the word went out that there was somebody on the loose down there that had assaulted this lady, and all the students that are signed up for that program were alerted to that. And that's how I kind of first heard about it, through that. So I'm
inviting people to the show.
yeah. So, okay, Joe, stop typing. Anyway, yeah, he is. He's inviting everybody in the free world. But anyway, well, look, we had the Bojangles thing, and we showed you it was something that didn't get covered in the media. And this question has come up and up and up, and I'm just going to throw it out there. This is the question that they keep asking us, everybody. We didn't really hear about this till y'all started talking about it. Okay, that's all well and good. How much other stuff are we not hearing about? And that's why we need you people out there to continue to add your friends, your coworkers, the people at church, the people you fish with, the people that are here in our general area, okay? We don't need people in Alaska, Hawaii, or Bangladesh, or Sri Lanka, because they're really not helping us. Like I said, a couple years ago, we had a guy that somebody added him. He was on an oil well down in the Gulf off of Texas. You know, and he loved being on the watch and stuff, but there just wasn't a whole lot of crime out there on the oil platform. So we're just trying to get the people here in our general area first, okay? Now, if we add some friends and relatives in other places that want to keep up with it down the road, okay. But try and get what we're talking about. The more people we have here in the local area that are signed up and on the watch, whether you contribute or you don't comment, or you comment or you don't, or whatever, eventually you're going to see something, or you're going to be part of something, and you're that set of eyes that can tell us what's going on. Whether it's the wreck, the person down on the Riverwalk that needs CPR. You might be a doctor, you might be a nurse, you might be just down the street or something. You might save a life. You might be down at the Riverwalk, and you might have been that lieutenant that jumped in a couple years ago and saved that kid from drowning. Okay. You know, so little pieces of information floating around out there on social media. You never know what's going to happen. You may not get into a big stuck out there on Jarrah Allen, the next wreck, and you're out there for 3 hours. You know, I kept one of my relatives coming back from the Atlanta airport. She called me up in the middle of the night and says, I'm up here north of Lynette, just over the Georgia border, and I've been in traffic for an hour and a half. Is there any hope? And I was like, no, there's been a bad wreck, there's been a fatality, and you will probably be stuck on the interstate for the next hour or two at least.
I want to see what everybody thinks out there. I've got an idea that I came up, a lot of us out there right now are saying, hey, well, what can we do? Our 17,000 people out there, people listening right now are saying, yes, we have the crime, we have the gang problem, what can we do? I'll tell you something, and I haven't even talked to Eric about this, but I'm going to promote something, is Marshall Countryman, who's going to be coming on the show next week.
Okay.
On that. Marshall Greg Countryman, who is a very loved figure here in Muskota County. Marshall Countryman has a junior marshals program that is in the elementary schools and in the middle schools. And it is, I want to remind you, the marshal's office in the last 5 years has been 3 times the #1 marshal's office in the country, not the state. He has the smallest budget and does more law enforcement activities out there than everybody else combined. And, this junior marshal's program he has, which I think got some little pittance, like a $10,000 or something from the crime prevention group. He works with kids in the elementary schools and the middle schools to give them positive role models of being on the good guys' side, being on the Cowboys' side. And you know what? I talked to him last night, and I said, hey, Marshall Countryman, we should get that into the high schools. We should have a advancement of groups where kids can be involved in high school in the Marshals program and sway these kids away from these gangs, Gangs, that are killing our children, that are perverting our children, that are leading our children into crime, and give them an alternative. And you know what? That's where crime prevention money should go. That's where we should go out there. And you know what? We ask questions. We ask questions, and we want to know answers. We have an election coming up. The mayor's on her way out. I don't even, who cares? She's on her way out. Good luck. Godspeed on that. We've got some candidates.
No, Joe, you got that wrong. Bye, Teresa.
There you go. Okay. But we've got some candidates that have announced. You know what I want to know? Thank you. Kimberly says her nephew's in the Junior Marshals program. Amazing program. It is an amazing program. These kids turn around and want to keep bullying out of schools. And they're not a vigilante. It's a group that teaches good morals and support for public safety and law enforcement. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Questions that we want to ask some of the new people that are running for office right now. 2 or 3 years ago, we had a loss, a local loss from sales tax. My records show that like $23 million has been taken in the last few years of that. 80% of that in the contract was supposed to go to public safety. Where the heck is that money? Where is that money? I want to know.
It's in somebody's
Lynette
mattress.
Joseph says it comes from home too. I grew up in the South Columbus. So did Pat. Pat's in South. You might want to say that, Pat. I didn't get the streets to eat me up because my parents made sure it didn't happen. Miss Pat, would you tell everybody where you grew up?
I grew up right off of Victory Drive on Engineer Drive.
Where'd you go to?
In Benning Hills.
Yeah, where'd you go to elementary school?
I went to elementary school at Benning Hills Elementary.
Junior high?
Eddie Junior High.
And you graduated from?
Spencer High School.
You're a South Columbus gal.
And I walked up and down Victory Drive.
Hey,
not to sell myself, but I did it because I didn't have transportation. I walked up and down Victory Drive, no problems. I walked over to Oakland Park, no problems.
Did you get involved in drugs?
No.
Did you steal?
No.
Did you rob people?
No.
Your mother was a blue-collar worker working for hourly wage?
Yes.
And your father had been dead since you were, 8 years old?
Yes.
On that, so single-parent home?
Yes.
Were you ever arrested?
No.
On that, have you ever been, there you go. See what I'm saying?
I've never gotten a ticket.
On that. All right, Lynette. Good for you, Lynette. And you know what? And that's it. I can remember, this is my hometown. I grew up here. Let me tell you something, everybody. Benning Hills and Oakland Park used to be two of the nicest areas in Columbus, Georgia. And matter of fact, it was if you go up into Benning Hills, there's some huge houses up there. Those used to be some of the nicest areas in Columbus. A lot of the officers off of Fort Benning would come there and retire there.
Also in Oakland Park.
And in Oakland Park, a lot of the NCOs and officers would retire there that had spotless yards and stuff like that. But you know what? We got to ask questions. We got to ask questions like, why is there a Victory Trailer Park that's behind the Columbus Hotel that has anywhere from 10 to 15 calls a night on the weekend night of drug activity? I went over with Chaplain Paul. I went over there with Chaplain Paul Voorhees, and I'll get him in here too. I'll get him to call him. We went over there looking for somebody at 10 o'clock in the morning in his truck. We're sitting there, two guys at 10 o'clock in the morning, not even into the truck, right on the outskirts of it. And within 10 minutes, we had two separate people come up and want to know if we wanted to buy drugs. This cop walked right up to the truck and said, we said, no, and we're going to call the police. We called the police on that. That's weird. Why is that dumb? If you've been out there, there's no way that those trailers, God bless the poor people that have to live in there, that trailer park, how it can pass the health code, I don't know.
Didn't we bring this up last week?
Yeah, because it's who owns it.
Who is responsible in Columbus for going around and inspecting properties and saying, this is a dump?
Watch this. I bet you what.
This is someplace where people should not be allowed to charge money to make somebody live in this place.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna do what's called. See, I'm in the legal game, so I'm gonna do what's called clever verbiage. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
I think it's inappropriate to say who owns that property. Okay, because we don't want to buck the system. I shot a buck this weekend over on the. Did I tell you about that on deer season? I shot a buck.
Yeah.
On that, it was a nice big buck. Next.
Anyway, I talked to some people about that, and supposedly there's people within the city government that their job is to code enforcement to make sure that
The sign Nazis. My God, you go on the side of the road and put a sign saying, "I'm trying to make a living. Come buy my shoes." They give you a ticket for it.
But that houses, you know, that should have running water, should have windows in them that are clean. And like I said, there was a law enforcement official who said one of the biggest threats to her when she had some type of risk assessment on her job and stuff, said the biggest threat to you is going into some of these houses and stuff, these drug houses and these other places, that you could catch something that you can't get off with Ajax. You know, you got to get some kind of, not so much AIDS or something like that, but something like hepatitis times 10 or something, you know, that if you had Clorox bleach, you couldn't get it off of you. That people should not be living in, and these squatters should not be allowed to move into these properties. And he said, now, part of the problem is that some of these properties are deeded down, and they're not, the city's sometimes not quite sure who owns them or what, but you know, you ought to do what Phoenix City does. And you get 1 or 2 notices, and then Phoenix City hires a demolition crew to come in and takes the structure down.
I assure you, Eric, I can tell everybody there, I am not a wealthy person. I'll show anybody my tax bill if you want to see it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that, like clockwork, I get my bill from the Muscogee County for my taxes, my water taxes.
So anyway, after Phoenix City
Ed Hoslow, how you doing, Ed?
After Phoenix City comes in and bulldozes the property down, they send whoever's name is on the owner, you know, the property deed owner or whatever, he gets the bill for the mess, you know. So it should be a simple fix. It should be that we should not have areas that are, what do you call it, urban blight. We should not have places in Columbus that look like some kind of downtown part of, you know, Detroit or something, like in the movies and stuff. Anyway, there's that. I want to move on to something, Joe, that's
dear to your heart.
Near and dear to my heart. Anybody that's got kids. And I want to ask this question out here to people. I want you to think about this. As a parent, we're required to educate our children.
Pass that phone on, make sure it's on, please.
We're required to educate our children, and most of us, all of us, in some shape or fashion, you either homeschool them or you're required to send them to some type of school. If it's a public school or it's a private school, but you're required to get those kids educated. Now, as a parent, you are trusting that school system or that school administrators or the teachers with your children during the day to do the right thing and have the right frame of mind and understand why they are hired to teach these children. They've been educated to be teachers, and apparently something is not getting into some of these teachers' head. And what I'm referring to is we got another instance here, supposedly in Columbus, where there's an investigation underway of what's being called inappropriate, get both fingers in there. Can I get both fingers in there? There we go. Inappropriate communications with a child. Now, I called up the other day, and apparently there is not a communications director currently holding that position right now. That's open. Either she retired or moved on to another job. So there's no person to really talk to the media or explain. But I wanted the term inappropriate communications to be explained to me as to what exactly does that mean. Does that mean that someone is texting
Welcome, Chuck.
some type of sexual communications to a child? Is that dirty pictures on the internet being sent to a child? Is that pictures of a adult in some shape or fashion being sent to a child? Is that some type of communications where you're trying to date this child? Because any of the above in my book, okay, is absolutely 100% wrong, okay? Wrong, all right? If you don't know why you're in the school system and what your job is in the school system, you need to come to a school board meeting and tell the school board people, I don't know what my job is and I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I think I'm supposed to be talking dirty to these kids.
Don't open it, Pat, if you don't know.
I think I'm supposed to be sending dirty pictures to these kids. I think I'm supposed to be trying to date these kids, okay? If you're that confused, if you don't want to go to the school board, how about finding some of us parents out there, and I guarantee some of the dads will set you straight quick, okay? As a teacher or a school administrator, your job is not to date or have inappropriate conversations or send dirty pictures of yourself to a kid. Now, it's already happened over in Alabama one time within the last year, about a year and a half ago, okay? And we went round and round over there about the employment regulations and the secrecy and we can't talk about, you know, this. And we don't know if that guy's teaching credentials were ever taken away in the state of Alabama. Now, I've had a quick conversation with one school board member that said he had to be careful about what he said, and I'm not going to use his name because he creates enough controversy for what he talks about. So what I'm saying is, if we have confused people in the school system, we need to unconfuse them, and parents need to know what the real deal is. We need to know what inappropriate communications is, and right up to now, nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to come out and say what the real deal is and give us the details, because supposedly it's under investigation. You know, well, who's investigating it? Is the school board investigating it? Is the Columbus Police Department investigating it? Is GBI investigating it? At what point is somebody going to give the parents in Muskogee County school system some type of an update, or give the media an update and say what is going on? Okay? Now, I've asked everybody that I know to ask, and I'm still digging, still haven't gotten enough answers. The only reason I'm not digging into it anymore is because, one, I'm not a Georgia resident, and I don't have kids going to the Georgia Muskogee County school system.
Frank Myers is on right now.
Really? Well, Mr. Frank, we've got. If you're out there, we'd love to hear from you on the telephone. If you could give us any details or any information, or even if you think this is a credible story, the number here is 706-940-0541, and we'd love to hear from you. Give you all the time you want. But you know, how many people out there agree with me that we, as parents, we have not given up our right? We have not given up our rights, and when the kids go to school, we just don't have anything else to say about it. You know, we have a trust. There is a trust between us and the school system and the teachers that they're going to do the right thing. And I'm telling you, the day that this happens, and I know where my kids go to school, and I'm up there a lot. In fact, I was up there 2 or 3 times this week, okay?
Thank you, Lisa.
And folks know that I'm very involved in my kids' education. And let me tell you, if somebody takes advantage of my kids inappropriately and is doing some kind of crazy stuff that they're not supposed to be doing, they're not going to have to worry about some type of secret investigation and protecting their employment. They're going to have to worry about a 6'3", 249-pound ex-paratrooper coming looking for them. Because I'm not waiting for the Phoenix City Police Department. I'm not waiting for the Russell County Police Department. I'm not waiting for the Lee County Sheriff's Department to come handle this. I'm going to go handle it. I'm going to tell you that right now. You mess with my kids and you cross the line, you have crossed the line. Okay? Already had one bozo a couple years ago try and play that game.
Frank,
he knows that it did not work out well for him.
I have a question out there, Frank. If you're still listening, Mr. Myers, he's a good friend. I have a lot of respect for him. Mr. Myers, one suggestion that I have for the school district is that we know now, and despite what the mayor has said, that we do have gang problems, serious gang problems in Columbus, and we also know that a lot of the gang problem is coming from kids that are school-age kids. And one of the ideas that I had, and this was not brought to me by Marshall Countryman, it's an idea that I came up with. Marshall Countryman has, which is active in a lot of schools, has the Junior Marshall Program. It's active in the elementary and in the Pat, your air's about fall. Your air machine's about fall. And in the middle schools, is expanding the Junior Marshals Program to expanding the Junior Marshals Program to the high schools. We got to get something on. We need a dedicated task force in the school district We need a person, not an educator. That they're right now. This doesn't have to be for all the time. But while we have this problem, I think we need, and maybe there is, and I'm not aware of. We need a person who does nothing but watch, coordinate, and work to stem gang activity in our schools.
Well, how about more school resource officers then?
Yeah.
Over in Alabama, we have school resource officers, which puts a deputy or a police officer in the school, you know, and they are there to make sure that everything is going the way it's supposed to be going. They're right there on the scene. Now, sometimes in certain schools, they rotate from school to school, but, you know, generally, like in Lee County, a lot of the schools are covered. But I just want to get back to this thing, Joe, that, you know, while gangs are a problem, I think anything where we have teachers that are confused, that they don't know why they're supposed to be in the school system. And I wanted to say something else about this. It's been brought up before that, a student is of a certain age or something, you know, it's not against the law to send them dirty pictures or talk dirty to them or try and date them or something like that. And I'm saying if that is the case, if that is the excuse that some teacher is using, it's not, they're 18 or something like that. If they are still in school, then they are still in school.
Okay,
and if we have to change the laws to say, okay, as long as they're in school, you're black and white. They are off the menu, okay? There is no dating, talking dirty, sending pictures to any kid that's in the school system, okay? If you were that desperate for a date or to, you know, I'm just going to say it, to have sex with somebody, don't try and have sex with our kids, okay? Because they're off the menu. On both sides of the river, that needs to be a change in the law right now. If that's even in the gray area.
Okay, well, let me tell you. I don't know about Alabama, but I can tell you in Georgia. In Georgia, that even though you are 18, if you are what's called in the custody of a teacher, in other words, if you're in school and you're 18, the teacher can be charged.
All right, then we'll cut right to the chase. There is no excuse for this type of behavior in the school system. I don't care what school system you're in. I don't care if you're in Tennessee. Charles Day is watching. You know, and I don't know the particulars about this. There have been some people that pointed out and said that, this may be a false story or somebody may be lying or something. Well, they said that over there in Alabama, and that turned out not to be the case. There was enough smoke in the vicinity that they did find that there was a fire attached to it. Okay, so it was truthful. But right now, whoever's investigating this, there's no details coming out, and there's no names, there's no specifications as to what exactly this behavior was. And I'm just saying, if someone is confused to that point, they don't need to be removed to some other position somewhere.
No, absolutely not.
You know, we don't need to remove them from being a teacher. We'll make them the janitor or something. We'll put them in charge of the
that definitely needs to be dealt with.
Audio-visual machine, the mimeograph machine, if you remember what that was. We'll put them in charge of raking up the playground. No, they need to be off the school system. Boom.
Absolutely. Getting to a couple people, Charles Day is watching. I'm curious your thought on this, Charles. And Nate Sanderson said, Eric, the answer is not more policing. Community service works just as well. I don't agree, Nate. I'm sorry. We are in a war right now. We have militant gangs, armed gangs out there. That's not community service. We need more gang task force. We need dedicated units that do nothing but go out and combat these gangs.
Let me ask Nate a question if Nate's still out there. Nate, you know, we've had these discussions before. So if you're talking about community service, okay? You use the word service, and you know that word service is going to get changed to something like, you got my boy out there now. That's slavery. I mean, we're already talking about it in the prison systems and stuff. The fact that these people have to go out and dump trash or do jobs or something like that, and some people call that slavery. So if we put some of these gang people out there picking up trash along the highway or scrubbing graffiti off the wall or whatever you want to put them out there to do, paint fences like Tom Sawyer, I'm telling you, the right right behind that is going to come people saying this is just nothing but slavery.
Oh,
this
come
is
on.
slavery.
You know what I say about, not to you people out there, that's ridiculous. Let's all act like adults. It's not slavery. Let's not play some verbiage game. It's people that have been sentenced to prison or in jail. They're in jail. They're not in daycare. And they should have to work to pay for their keep it. Not slavery. Let's quit picking on everything. On something like that. But getting back to what we just said is intervention. Okay, great, Nate. Let's intervene with these kids. Right now, we're in a war out there with a bunch of adults with AK-47s, 9mm. They're shooting up our town. Do you really think we're going to go up to them and say, "Oh, let's give you a job"? They'll blow our head off. Well, we've got to deal with the immediate situation right now.
I'm all for
put these people in jail, and then we can go out. It's great that we want to spend crime prevention dollars to go play nice songs to 6th graders, so maybe they won't be in a gang one day. But right now, we got to deal with it today, November 1st, 2017. We have a war going on in Columbus with these gangbangers, and we need to do something about it, and not kiss their butt. Or body collar them. We need to put them in jail.
So what is the intervention? How do we intervene? How do we get them get their attention? What is it? I mean, I'm all for some type of intervention that does not send them to jail or to prison.
So the Concerned Citizens is on. Charles.
Okay. Hey, Charles. How do we? There's got to be some consequences. There's got to be something that.
Hey, Laura.
Okay, some kind of they get sentenced to some kind of vocational retraining where they go learn how to do something, and that's where they got to report. And then part of that job is to go out in the community and do that job for X amount of days or something. I mean, are we going to put them on a highway detail holding a flag or shoveling asphalt? Or I'd love to have the conversation. I thought you were talking about putting police officers in the schools, middle schools, and high schools, not gangs. Well, we're just trying to come up with solutions.
Solutions, anything. If we had to put police officers in there, let's put police officers. If we had to put the National Guard in there, I don't care. We've got to stop. We have people roaming the streets in every area of Columbus, Georgia, firing guns, robbing people, jacking cars.
But I mean, maybe on the other hand, if we did have more school resource officers, maybe we'd have less teachers trying to date our kids.
I got a statistic for you, and this is not my statistic. This is statistics from Buddy Bryant. We've had 35 murders in this town, and the police department came out and said that 33 of those were, quote, directly related to gang violence and drugs. Okay? I think then that's what we need to focus on. We need to put more money. We don't mean talk about building a stupid government center right now. We've got our people's lives are in danger. Let's get realistic, not in fantasy land. Let's come back from fantasy land.
If we, as much as everybody thinks these gang guys are all big bad tough guys and stuff, and they make great soldiers, the bottom line is they don't have discipline to begin with, and sticking them in the military. They do more damage to the morale and the welfare and the discipline in the military, unless we form up some kind of crazy special
military. Let's put them on a plane and send them out to another country.
Unless we form some kind of special Dirty Dozen task force or something, But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to start having a conversation about it. And the problem is, a lot of these politicians are not going to talk about this type of subject because as soon as it comes out of their mouth, they start worrying about losing votes. And I'm just going to say this out there: that some of these politicians are counting on the African American vote to get them to the next level. Okay, and if they piss off the African American community in the voting bloc, they're not going to get to Atlanta. They're not going to get to Washington, D.C., so it's never going to come out of their mouth. And, there's not going to be a conversation. It's just going to be business as usual. People complaining about the crime, criminals being arrested, going to jail, people complaining that we got too many people in jail. Why do we have so many people in jail? We don't have money to keep them in jail. We got to let them out of jail. Over in Alabama right now, they're looking at every excuse to let somebody out of jail because they don't have room for them. And
Down the road.
the county jails are full
We're
because
400 right now.
the state doesn't want them because they can't take them. So that's why you have this revolving door where over in Alabama you have these people that are stealing everything you got, and 2 or 3, 4 weeks, a month later, 2 months later, boom, they're back out on the street. Or while they're waiting for their trial to come up, they're back out stealing from you again.
I agree, Marianne, 100%. Marianne said, bring back the draft for males and females. Persons not combat material assigned into other positions such as kitchen staff, upkeep on a military basis.
Well,
Like Israel, every young person should serve their country in one way or the other.
I think we ought to look at something out of Starship Troopers. It's the movie. Yeah, it was Hollywood and everything.
And
but
if you want to be a citizen.
if you want to be a citizen and have the right to vote, you're going to have to do some service in some shape or form for your country. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that could be some kind of a civil service,
Forest Service, National Park,
road service,
Red
medical.
Cross.
Go get some medical training.
Yeah.
But part of that service is you get trained in a vocation or a skill. So working on the highways, engineering, building bridges, building dams, cutting down forests, fighting fires, joining the military if that's what you want to do. Some type, if you're against, what do you call that? If you're a conscientious objector,
Thank you, Lord.
you go do something. I mean, people used to go up into the mountains of Virginia and West Virginia and work with the poor people that lived up in the mountains that had nothing, that were in poverty. There's still people that live up there in poverty, and they would go up there and try and help them as part of service and stuff. Back in the Depression, who was it? Was it Roosevelt?
That's the Peace Corps. Back in
Well,
back
it
in
was-
Roosevelt, we had the CCC.
CCC, yeah.
Concentration Corps.
And you went into the CCC to work for your country, and what you got was a roof over your head, and you got meals, and you had a job, and I think they made a little bit of money.
Lynette, God bless. By the way, Lynette, God bless you. You tried to get in service. You were too small. That's okay. You tried. You made a commitment to serve your country, and so that's it. That's all you can do. The only thing we can all do is try, instead of sitting on our butts. And you did. So God bless you. I think you tried, and you were a part of that. And you will always be a part of that. Yeah.
So what else, people? I'm talking to the people out there now. What else is going on that we've either missed or is a concern in the area right now? I don't care what side of the river you're on. I want to bring this up real quick. If you want to call in again, it's the call-in line is 706-940-0541. If you have something you want to talk about. But I want to know over in Alabama, where the local politicians are, the elected representatives and stuff. I want to know who they're supporting for the Alabama Senate race.
I got to say one thing. Anybody that's going on here that's a politician, why are you not calling in? You don't have 1 minute to call in? I mean, maybe we'll keep a record of that. Who we asked to call in, and we said they didn't have time to talk to the 17,000 people.
Yeah, well, I did hear that the mayor is up at Sweetbriar. She's standing in for the girls typing teacher. She's up there teaching a class at Sweetbriar, which is up there around Lynchburg, Virginia. But I think she can get after she leaves the mayor's office, she could probably get a full-time position up at Sweetbriar, full-time typing teacher. So folks, we just about shot the gamut here as far as what we had to talk about.
I was wondering, what can we do to help our elderly here in Alabama that live alone with no family? There's a lot we can do.
Well, I can't say it's all the elderly. I do know there's people like Colonel Nelson and the House of Heroes and stuff that are working towards veterans, helping veterans up, rebuilding some of their houses and stuff and helping them out. But, as a community, that's something that people, with the help of the churches and stuff, if somebody could, take the ball and run with that, say in a certain area or something, and say, look, let's start a program or something and start looking out for the elderly. Like check on them, once or twice a week.
I want to see a Georgia, Alabama, or Alabama, Georgia. I don't care which one goes first. Alabama, Georgia, Alabama coalition for the Chattahoochee Valley. That we stand up together. And let me tell you something. It's as important who gets elected over in Russell and Lee County in Alabama as it is in Columbus or are there. Because if they have or we have an ineffective government, it's going to affect the other side. You know that river right there. It's not like it's a 50-foot wall with a force field on it. Like, well, whatever happens over there, it's not going to touch us. Get realistic, America. Get realistic, Columbus. Get realistic, Chattahoochee Valley. Together, we're strong. I mean, we're talking about gangs. So we're talking about a few hundred people on that versus 300,000.
Yeah, this just came from the back of my head to the front of my head. If you're in fairly decent shape and you're a younger type of person and stuff, you have an interest in this, especially with the Alabama side. All the volunteer fire departments need help.
Absolutely.
Okay, Ladonia, Crawford, Salem, Smith Station, they can all use volunteers. Okay, and if you have an interest in that, of course, you're going to have to go through some training and get certified in some stuff. They just don't give you a hat, and they don't let you, ring the bell and drive the truck right off the bat. You got to learn all the stuff there is to learn. But there's people out there in all those departments, whether it be Chief Kane in Ladonia. I don't know. I can't remember who the chief is. I know one of the assistant chiefs over in Smith Station is Daniel Sexton. But they're always saying, and you always see it on the signs when you're driving around the fire departments, that they need help, they need volunteers. So if that's something that interests you,
we're working. Hey Tom, how you doing? We're working right now to make the watch to expand it. People like we need more than Stacy. We need people all over the Chattahoochee Valley to have a network of people where they it's like anything else. I always told people when I was a law enforcement officer, I always told people, I said, listen, even if you look down the road at 3 o'clock in the morning and there's somebody walking down the road and they don't look, it just looks unusual. There's nobody in your neighborhood that time of the morning. This person's carrying a bag, they're walking down the road, something like that. Don't sit there and say, well, they're not really doing anything, so I'm violating their right. You're not violating anybody's rights. Call 911. Yeah. And if we could constantly just get people to, we'll do it. Call right into the line. Post in the watch. I saw this happening. Is anybody? And we're doing it now. We've got a lot of that. People, as soon as they see accidents, they see lights going on, stuff going on, people want to know. And we have the right to know.
Joe, Stephen Conley just wrote, and this has come up before, Stephen. You're not the first person to bring this up, but, he said have a little meeting or something, or have a little get-together and teach people how to secure their houses.
We can do that.
And we've talked about that. The longer screws in the door jambs and then in the hinges, the outer doors, the lighting, the sticker bushes, dogs, cameras, security systems, guns.
Tell you what, we'll get together on getting something in the future.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we're going to have to look at it because it's like we could rent out the ironworks or something and have everybody come down there. But if a neighborhood or somebody wanted to host it, we could come out and talk about it. We could invite the local sheriff, the local police department, whatever. If they want to come, if they don't want to come, I've seen that. Sometimes they're invited, they're too busy, or they don't come, they don't show up, whatever. We can still anybody out there. Like I said, this neighborhood watch idea. It doesn't have to get blessed off by anybody. The Pope doesn't have to come from Vatican City and say,
"Thank you, Lisa.
You're now a neighborhood watch." Okay, the people in that neighborhood can go do it on their own. And there's a lot of smart people out there. There's a lot of veterans out there. He was mentioning the marshal. The marshal not only does he have the junior marshals program, but Greg also provides firearms training.
He has free firearms training.
Is it free?
You have to pay for your ammunition.
Yeah, I didn't think it was totally free. But,
let me. There's an addendum to that. If you cannot afford it, and you tell him that, that's all you have to tell him. It is free.
So I could go take some firearms training?
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure, can't afford it.
Of course, I don't think anybody believes for a second that I can't.
This is what we're trying to say, and I guarantee Marshal Kutchman, he's an elected official, and the High Marshal here, he can get us a facility to have a thing, and he has the marshals have their own range. But it's just even simple little things like we've talked about, like Eric had mentioned. Do you all know out there? Do you really know out there that that, you know, in your door jamb on there, and where the little part goes into the male part goes into the female part on there, that on 99% of houses, the screws in that are like a 1/4 inch screws. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware, you can get 3-inch or 4-inch screws, which I think for like a pack of 3, it's like $1, something like that. And just putting those, because it goes, see, behind the door jamb is 2 2x4s in most houses. So that long screw goes into those 2x4s. That increases the security of your door like by 300%. That $1, $2, and it takes 5 minutes to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but
thank you, Tom.
The number one thing that we're pushing for is to get the numbers up on good people. Okay, people that believe, like, you know, believe in doing what's right, not committing crimes, not selling drugs to kids, not trying to shoot people for make a living, you know, not, and I'm not talking down to the people that have made one mistake. Okay, if you went out and you made a mistake and you paid for it, we're not talking about you.
We're not talking about you.
We're talking about the guys that are just
it's a career habitual,
day in and day out. You know, they
everybody's made mistakes.
They get up, they go out, and they wait for you to go to work, and then they come kick your door in, or they take your lawnmower, your 4-wheeler, your motorcycle. You know, they're just too lazy to work for whatever reason.
And you know, there are a lot of people out there, you know, that can look back at something and say, hey, you know, I'm 45 years old. When I was 17, I did a really stupid thing and broke into a house and, you know, was using drugs. That doesn't mean that they're not a good person now.
Yeah.
And so you know, we want to have the people believe and then people not money, material goods. Good for you, Laura.
We can, Laura, just continue, because I'm telling you, for every person that's added to the page that's local, that's 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 people off their friends list that will eventually either hear about it or see it.
Psychology stats say that if you tell one person one thing,
what is even just hilarious, okay? It's not hilarious, not even, I just find it humorous, okay? That people that laughed at the watch, say, a year, 2 years, 3 years ago, or they made fun of it, or they said, you know, whatever about this, you know, this is ridiculous, I can't believe you people are so nosy and posting. They've had stuff stolen from them, and now they're members of either on this page, or they're another page, or they're on another page, and they talked about this page, but now they want to be on this page, and they're coming back to this page,
hey, man,
because they know that you know, that we're going to get the real deal out there, and people want to know what's going on. It's just a natural curiosity thing, and they're going to go to where people have a good chance of telling them what's going on. And we're not the newspaper. You're not going to get it 24 hours later. You know, you're not. And somebody, I don't know who posted this the other day. They said that, you know, I guess this was a diss. They said, well, you guys post stuff and you don't check it out 100,000% and get, you know, 47 confirmations, and the media, you're not waiting for the media to put it out. No, we're not.
No, are you kidding?
You know, because if we wait, it might not get put out at all. You know, so I have a lot of confidence in the people out there to be able to put out good information.
You know, also, by the way, and I hate to be sarcastic, but it calls with, you know, at last thought, aren't you and I and Stacy and a lot of these people do? I believe we're volunteers. I don't think we're getting a dime for this.
No, we're not getting a dime.
I mean, we're not being paid by anybody.
And this was a killer. This is hilarious. Someone told somebody associated with the show that they sure wanted to have a confidential or a clandestine relationship with the watch, because they wanted, you know, we got good information and stuff. And this was a media source. Okay?
Media source.
And I was like, look, you guys are the ones getting paid to do that job. We're not getting paid. We're not going to make your job easier.
How about that one? I'm an Eagle Scout. Eagle Scouts Honor, a major news source.
We're not going to do your job for you.
Came to us and stuff and said, well, will you feed us information?
Yeah. especially when we're not even going to get a high five or something for our efforts. You know, we don't even get a photo. What do you call it? A acknowledgement of photos we sent in, or acknowledgement that this came from this group or something.
Right, Tom.
We're not going to do it. You know, what Joe and I have talked about, and other people have talked about, is forming a group of like-minded citizens where we go cover the stuff as it happens, and we ask, you know, what's going on, you know.
I can tell you, this is not, you know, there's second-hand, third-hand, you know, that kind of stuff on that. I can tell you this right now. I called Monday morning. Now, actually, it wasn't even Monday morning. It was Monday late morning to all of the major television stations, the newspaper, and I said, specifically gave them a time, location, date of the thing of Bojangles, and I was told, well, we don't have anything on that. And then, matter of fact, then they came back 2 hours later and said, we still haven't been able to find anything on that at all. We checked with the police department, nothing at all. And then mysteriously, on Halloween, mysteriously, the next day, or that day, it was Halloween, the day before Halloween, came back and said, well, guess what? We have found that there was an incident in True and Bojangles, and something after that involving 8 males, possibly some gunfire, and on that. And then, lo and behold, and I'll tell you what, he showed the video. I also went by Bojangles. I went by there myself with these eyes with Miss Pat, and I saw. I've been a police officer. I'm a soldier, police officer, deputy sheriff. I know what a bullet hole looks like, and I tell you, there were bullet holes in there.
Hey, one more quick thing that just rattled around in my head is this. What is the area over there across from?
Hey, Stacy.
Stacy's awake. Holy moly!
We love Stacy.
What's she sticking her tongue out for? Anyway, I'll get back with you on that, Stacy.
Anyway,
green. Hey, yeah, what's up with the green tongue?
Green tongue.
Anyway, must be a
She's
Halloween
hiding.
edit.
It's Stacy. Stacy.
What is the subdivision? Somebody help me out with the subdivision that's kind of across from the airport runways.
Windsor Park.
There you go, Windsor Park.
Tanglewood.
Tanglewood. They're doing some great work over there in Windsor Park area. The Tanglewood Neighborhood Watch, give them a shout out.
We all do.
There's another Eric over there, Eric K, I think it is. But I guess they've got a coyote problem, and I guess some of the city council people have told them that it's been contracted out that they're gonna catch those coyotes. Okay, I think they've got a road runner from the Acme Coyote Catching, and they're coming in to catch them.
Let's see how old you are.
Good luck with getting coyotes in traps. Okay. Now I do have some friends. If you have a pig problem, the good guys over there at Jagger Pro will take care of your pigs for you. But I don't know if they're. Maybe I'll talk to the boys over at Jagger Pro, see what can be done about that. I know what they're going to say: shoot the coyotes. But I don't know if we can blast coyotes in the city limits. But I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of luck with getting coyotes to go into traps. They're pretty skittish. They're pretty smart animals, and I've seen them a lot. Every time I've ever gone out to NTC out in California, the National Training Center, a lot of coyotes out there. They've got a big dump out there, and those coyotes are smart. So there's no natural predator around here for coyotes. There's nothing killing the coyotes.
One of the, by the way, I wanted to mention to everybody, part of the family here with the Watch and Radio's Got a Country Show and Dempsey Fitness Hour, the Medical Hour, and Really Good Pizza. Those are all together. We're all nonprofit, working together. And I want to let you know that Really Good Pizza at 7042 Moon Road, that if you go in there, all you got to do is tell them that you're a member of the Watch, and you get 10% off of your bill. If you're a public safety officer, and that means fire, police, EMT, anything, from anywhere. I don't care where you are from, any state, like that, you get half price.
Good deal.
So we have that. And Kelly Jack says, thank you for all the admins for getting information out to our communities. I don't even know who the admins are. As Stephen Conley says, did 52 rotations, or what does that mean?
Oh, you were one of those dirty Russian Op 4 guys, huh, Steve? Okay.
Hey, my son is watching. Wes Weldon. Hey, son, how you doing? That's my youngest son, father of my little granddaughter, Zoe.
52 rotations. That's got to be some kind of a record or something.
I mean, love you, son.
Let me tell you, Stephen, you can keep NTC. It's all yours. You know, all I saw is a light infantry guy in the 82nd and the 25th, up the hill and down the hill.
Miss Pat, put
Up
the
the hill and down the hill.
put the camera on you for a second so you can say hi to your son.
Anyway,
Hold on, she wants to say hi to her son. Hold on for a second. She's gonna say hi.
you know, we still have a lot of T-shirts left over. If you need a watch T-shirt,
and you know, all that does is help us. It helps you to help us to bring this out.
We've got the light blue. We've got the gray T-shirts, and we've got a couple, say 10 or 20. I don't know if we've got 20 left.
That's Miss Pat.
We got some of the OD green military style looking T-shirts.
Yes, we
and
do.
the regular sizes, they're $15, and the extra large tent sizes are $17.
Absolutely. And you know what? Everybody out there too. Remember these T-shirt things we're talking about. We don't get nothing out of that. What we're trying to get a little bit of money so we can expand our operations. And of course,
and for the naysayers, there's like, why are you selling T-shirts? Well, we're selling the T-shirts to build camaraderie.
Laura says, "I need my back clothes." Do we owe Laura a shirt? Laura, do we owe you a shirt?
If we owe you a shirt, we'll be glad to give it to you.
Yeah,
if you come by here or Willie Good Pizza, I've got them over there too.
Yeah, it's not like we're hurting for back the Columbus Blue T-shirts, okay? Yeah. if we owe you a T-shirt, come get that sucker.
By the way, I want to say congratulations
to who?
They're going to a very special young man, Wade Woodson. Actually, to both Wade and Zach Woodson, your prodigy, who did very well at their 1 mile run this week.
Yeah, the school is running by classes, not by classes, by grades. They do a 1 mile run for fitness and stuff twice a year, and it's broken down into the boys and the girls, and then depending on how you finish, there is like a top 10 of every grade, and then they all run against each other. And then from that, there is a group that goes to run against other schools, I guess in the Russell County school system, Phoenix City area, whatever. Anyway, my youngest is not a runner, but he has been training with his older brother and actually took some of the advice that I gave him and did very, very well in his second grade run. My son ran today, my oldest son ran today and finished in the top 5 or 6 because I was.
Congratulations to both of them.
Yeah.
I want to say hi to Nancy Boren, who our elections director. I want to thank her and thank you, of course, your wife, who are our Chief Boren. Back the blue. We are 100% supporters of the Columbus Police Department. The officers out there. God bless them. God bless what they do and all of our public safety officers. We're going to be having the Back of the Blue dinner coming up here very shortly in a few weeks for all public safety. We've got a nonprofit group that's going to be feeding them. Thank you, Nancy, for what you do. Tough job. I appreciate that. And even though she went to Brookstone and I went to Shelley, she's a brookie on them. That's right. Yes, and you know what? And guess what? And Nancy, if you're listening out there, I think the Haley's Comet is coming around again or something. And I think we actually beat you in football every time Haley's Comet, like every 85 years on that. They always beat us. And what's bad when Brookstone plays with Shelley, and that's my alma mater, Shelley. They don't beat us; they slaughter us. They need to have that mercy. It's only 65 to 1.
I can tell you, it's been a rough year for some schools over on the Alabama side. But anywho, well, look, I think we're.
I think we're about out of time. I think we got almost 2 hours on tonight. So I guess maybe
Facebook must have went to sleep.
Stacy, thank you so much for what you do. And Stacey, I got to get with you because we got a scanner radio, and I got to get you to the same one you have to program it.
Yes,
I don't know how to do that.
Well, Stacey can't do it. We do have a backup, Mr. Jerry Hemby, who's a communications guy from the United States Navy.
And I can trade my services as a mediator. I can do divorces if you need a divorce out there on that. Anyway, hey, listen, thank you all. What a wonderful country we have. What a wonderful people that we have out there, and it's just a pleasure to do this. It's a pleasure to be part of this, and we are just we're very fortunate to have people in our community that care, and just remember, that again that we are strong together, and as we come together and we grow, we will. This is a great community. It really is a great community. And
hey, Joe, real quick. I don't know the name of the organization, but there is a church, and I'm going to say they're in the Phoenix City area, and maybe somebody knows what the real deal is on the name and stuff. But there is a group that is going around at different times, and I'll do some more research, get the name, the times, and stuff. But they are collecting jackets and warm clothing for the veterans this winter. We've had a night or two of cold weather, but nothing that's coming here in December, January, and February. So people right now, I'm asking you right now, if you're on the watch, if you are looking through closets or you have a warm jacket or a pair of socks or something, old sleeping bag or something that you don't need anymore, maybe set it to the side and wait for us to get the name of this church or whatever so that we can help some of these homeless vets.
Absolutely.
And because we don't want anybody, and I'm not sure it all goes to just to the veterans and stuff, but in years past we have had people freeze to death in the wintertime.
Absolutely.
And that'd be a terrible shame if we could just do a little something towards that. I'm not asking for any money. I'm just asking, if you have an old coat that's still warm, put it to the side and let us get back to you.
God bless America. God bless you. We'll see you next week. Let's do our thing.
Which way are we going? This way?
Yeah. I think we're still on.
Yep.
We're gonna
Let me see if I can. Take care, everybody.
Take care, everybody. You gotta turn this off. Finish. Take care, everybody, and God bless you. God bless you. We'll see you soon.
Okay. Now you can press post.